Well, today on Nation, a window cleaners podcast, the longest running window cleaning podcast in history, we're talking about scaling. We're talking about getting bigger. Like, we're in season. I know you think you may want to get bigger. You want to add some stuff. You want to have bigger business. You want to do all of that. But that's scaling. So today, let's talk about it. Stay tuned to WCR Nation. What's up, everybody? Jersey here from windowcleaner.com, and you are here. What is up? If it's your first time here, have a look around. As I said, this is the longest running podcast on the planet for window cleaning. It's been going on almost 8 years now. Almost. It's crazy. Go back, listen, watch anywhere. It is Spotify, my favorite platform, because it's super easy. And leave a review, because why not? By the way, a lot of you, when you leave reviews, send me a message like, I left a review. And when the shameless plug works, which I'll get to later, it's the same thing. So thank you to everybody who took the time to do that. I know it's like 60 seconds out of your day, but it really does mean a lot. So thank you. Anyway, let's jump into scaling a business. And scaling is just getting bigger. Now, some of you don't want to get bigger, and that's totally cool. Like, some of you are like, well, I don't know if I want to get bigger. And some of you are like, yes, I need to be bigger. And I'll tell you, scaling is tricky. Not tricky. It just has to be done right, is really all it is. You know, a lot of times in scaling, people just go, well, I'm just going to we'll get bigger every year. You're just hoping that happens. But you can take steps, you personally, to increase your business, to scale, to do everything that you need to do right so that it actually happens. I mean, everybody you see that's complaining, we're like, I just don't know what's going on. I just don't have, it's slow this year. It's what they've done nothing right to get bigger. They're like, well, I put an ad out like 2 months ago and like nobody calls that. Like, that's not how you do ads. There's so many things that people do wrong, which is fine for them. It's not fine for you, right? If you think that scaling just happens, there is growth in business and just like being a business. People use you, they like you to tell some people. But if that's all you have, again, I use this phrase all the time, but you're just like sitting in the raft, like letting the water take you. You don't have a paddle. You're not directing your business. You're kind of just like along for the ride, which again, I'm just a dummy who sits in front of his computer all by himself in a room talking to a little green light. And I understand that. I'm just a nobody. So you don't have to listen or follow anything I say. But I'm going to give you my thoughts on it anyway, because scaling can absolutely be wrong. It can be done wrong. Like, I think that sometimes people, not you, you're different. But I think that sometimes people just are like, man, I don't know. It must be his customers or his area. He's in a bigger area. He's got this or that, or that's why they're big. It's like, no, you can take the reins and make this happen. Well, yeah, but that'll take a long time. Yes, it takes a long time. It takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of resources, and you get gray hair like I do. See, gray hair. You get all of that by scaling in business and everything else. If you just want to be like, I just want to live the easy life, then cool, don't scale. Like, that's fine. You can sit in the raft. There's a lot of people who do. And in fact, I think every company at some point sits in the raft. There's like a certain point where you're like, dude, I just don't have the energy to like push this anymore. So I just got to take a second, right? And that's okay. But I'm telling you, scaling is where it's at. The more you can scale the company, and if you have a like rotation of scale, meaning like you know that every year you add a crew and you put blah, 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 and all that stuff, it will be so much easier to scale bigger later as you're going. The hardest thing you can possibly do in business is go from nobody, just you working, to your first employee. That's the hardest. The second one's a little easier, still really hard. Once you get out of the field like that, you got a solid crew running, way easier. I know hiring still sucks and finding good people still sucks and all that, but you know what I'm saying. Huge difference. And scaling is that thing that if it's not done right, all you're doing is wasting money, time, burning yourself out, and it just doesn't work. I mean, how many times have you seen people do that? Or you've talked to people, or you've been on window cleaning forums and groups and things, and they're like, I don't know, is it slow for anybody else? And you're like, no. I don't know, it must be our area. It could be, or it could be that you've done nothing the right way to get bigger. Right? Anyway, scaling can be done absolutely in any area. I'm really sticking to that. But the one thing that I always see people really fail with scaling, and we always kind of talk about that in spring because people are ramping for that scale, right? They're like, it's in their brain. They're going to scale. This year is going to be the year. It's always a kind of a spring thing. You do rebuild over the winter, scale in the spring. And the biggest thing that people miss is systems. I know this is the most boring aspect of anything business related, especially window cleaning or services just in general. Systems are boring. It's like creating something where, it's like a way to do things so that it's done that way all the time. It's just a boring conversation. It's a boring everything, but I'll tell you what. If you want to model yourself after companies that have scaled and do scale and scale like crazy, look at McDonald's. I always use them. I know they're not in the service industry. I know they're a giant company and that's not really what it is, but just look at the idea. When you go to a McDonald's, in the very back of the kitchen, there's pictures that show you what side of the bun to put the ketchup on. You put the meat, you put the cheese, you put whatever other stuff's on these burgers. It tells you what to do. It tells you ketchup goes on the bottom, mustard's on the top. And you're like, are they that dumb that... No. If you go to a McDonald's is a bad choice. Let's say Chick-fil-A. I don't know. Chick-fil-A probably has the same thing there on the back. Probably pictures. When you go to a Chick-fil-A, one of the best restaurants on the planet, I'll fight you for that. But when you go to Chick-fil-A anywhere, it could be in North Carolina, it could be in Wisconsin, it could be in Florida. Anywhere that you go, you get the exact same service, you get the exact same taste, you get the exact same sandwich. Down to what side of the sandwich the lettuce is on. It is not that people are dumb to create systems. It's so that you can repeat things and hand it to somebody and say, hey, here's how this works. I can hand you a binder. On the front says Chick-fil-A, and now you know how we build sandwiches, what we do, what are mixes, what are ingredients. You could have everything in one location. Now, take that back for your window cleaning business. What are you talking about? Well, here's the thing. If you don't have a hiring system, meaning like, here's what we do. Every time we hire, we flip a switch. I don't have to think about it. I do it this way. I put up the ads. Here's what we do. Split test, put them in these places. Start doing phone interviews for the first 3 days. Turn the ad off. Take one of those people out of the 3 days. Put it into a trial or in-person interview. And then I start the process over every time I need to. If you can create something like that, then anytime and every time you're scaling, which, by the way, there's so many pieces to scaling in general that you're like, I don't even know where to start. Exactly. That's why you build systems. I have a system for that. That means that if I do it, or I tell my admin, hey, let's go ahead and get somebody hired. Cool. What's the system? What do we do? Boom, they can do it all. I can do it. They can do it. No matter who does it, they do it right. Now, how do we train? That's a system. Well, day 1, day 2, they're in the office with me. We're watching these videos, go over this things. Here's the test they do. Boom. Then day 3 through 5, they are with our operations officer out in the field, and they are training on the glass. Whatever those pieces are. It could be an incredibly in-depth system. It could be a very simple system. But if you aren't training people then the same way, it takes so much more brain power for you to stop. Think about what you do. Oh man, did I forget this? I forgot to tell you about this. You don't know how they're getting trained. Now, I'll tell you, a system can change. Like you're like, oh man, actually, you know what? I think it'll be better this way. Let's change that. Now, every time somebody comes in, they're going to do it this way. Absolutely. Your systems can always change and should change. If you create a system and you never change it because you're so stuck to the system, you've ruined that, because there's no time ever in anybody's life that the first thing you've done ever with like an ad or a system or anything was the absolute best thing you'll ever do. That's why when they say it's like building a better mousetrap is a saying, because in all of history, there's really been only one thing ever that was done beautifully and perfectly, the first thing, and that's a mousetrap. Like they say you can't build a better mousetrap. meaning they got it right in the first time, and that's the only time that's ever happened. So I don't think you and your service company is going to do the best things ever. You're not going to make the best systems right out of the gate. You're not going to do the best advertising right out of the gate. You're not going to have the best logo right out of the gate. You're not going to have any of that stuff. We're going to mess up. We're going to change things. We're going to see what works. We're going to split test. It all makes sense. In a system is the way that everything happens so that it can be replicated and done by anybody. So the systems we have, you got to hire people. You have to put out the employment things, but once you have them, you have to train them. What do the vehicles look like? Okay, I hire crews of 2. I got a lot of guys, hiring 2 people at one time, which means every time I hire, I have to bring a truck on. I'm going to have the truck ordered before I have the people. I'm going to have all the gear for each person in the truck, and I'm going to have the truck off to the wrap company to wrap it before they're even ready. No, I'm not taking a truck to new people. I'm going to take each of the new people, put them with somebody who's been there a long time. And I need another truck because I just added 2 more people, even if it's not the 2 new people that are in this truck. I know that that's my system. I know that's all that has to happen. I have to have the gear. Well, if I got a new truck, then guess what? I have to have the wrap. That costs $3,500. I have to have the water fit equipment. That costs $3,000. I know I have to have starter kits for each of them. That's $1,000 total. Okay. So every time I hire to scale, I need, $10,000 for everything on top of vehicle payment, insurance, all that, to get them up and running. You're going, whoa, every time you hire, it's $10,000. Yes, it is. Because $10,000, it's like 100 hours of work. It's 50 hours of work for 2 people to make $10,000 for you. It's that simple. When you're like, oh, 10K is a lot. No. The guys are averaging $100 an hour, if not more, much more. But even at $100 an hour, you got $10,000. How many hours is that? 10,000, 100 hours? 100 hours at $100 is $10,000. There's 2 people. It's 50 hours. We work 40 hours a week, typically. Literally. So when you're looking at the scale, this is how you get the structure. Now, when you're getting out of the field, you're changing your role. This is the other big part. People who are in a ownership role have the hardest time with time management. It's too many times in that sentence. But it's true. The hardest thing is to know what you're doing. You go into work, you're like, I'm just overwhelmed. I don't know what's going on right now. If you have that feeling, you have to go back to time management. This time of year is absolutely the most crucial thing. I hear the most from people. You see it on the forums, you see it on the groups, everybody. It's like, I'm so overwhelmed, we're so busy. Okay. You're overwhelmed because you just look at it and go, I have 50 things to do today. Instead of okay, I have one thing to do first, let's do that. Now I have one thing to do, let's do that. Now I have one thing to do, let's do that. You can focus on one thing easy. Nobody's overwhelmed with one thing. But you have to change your role. The idea of you being out of the field, if this is your first hire, you have to get out of the field, and now your entire job is to get that person work. Your entire role is now to get more work so that they have stuff to do. That's your job. How do you do that? That's a whole nother ballpark of things in advertising, everything else. But if you bring on 2 people for a crew, which that's what I like to do, is bring on 2 people at a time, because then I know logistically, back to systems, I know my trucks, I know all that stuff, right? If you hire 1 at a time, it's like filling a role typically, right? So if somebody left or quit or something, you got to get somebody to, you're not changing anything, you're just adding somebody. But no matter how that works, with everything else, now they're in there. It's easier to hire your 10th person than your first person. 1,000%. The role changes no matter what. If you hire one person to replace somebody, you got the work. But nobody is like, oh yeah, everybody in my company works 80 hours. Say I have 2 employees. I'm not going to work them 80 hours a week so that I have enough hours to hire 2 more people at 40. That doesn't make sense. You can't burn them out. They're working 40 hours, maybe 45 because you can't get the overtime down. We're just so busy. Okay, so they're working 45 and now you add 2 more people. Guess what? They're not each going to work 20. I mean, they are as it starts, right? Training takes time. But now you go into hyper growth mode for the hiring thing. And people always say, like, when's the best time to hire? I don't know. Should I hire when it's slow or should I hire when it's busy? If I hire when it's busy, then there's work. Yes, but then you have new people trying to help you get things done when they're not doing production. And then the other guy's slow because they're trying to train him. But then if you do it when there's no work, then what do? There's a window of perfect. And that is before you have the work, but soon enough where you're going to be boosting that up. It's now your job to get the work for those people. It changes your entire role. Yeah, but I got to do this thing, No, you don't. Your entire job is to get them work. That's your job now. Like, that is your emergency now thing, right? And that's in advertising. I've done a lot of shows on that, but that's split testing and all that stuff. So go back, watch all of that. You will learn something in kind of getting the work. Because the getting the work part, again, systematically is easier than you think when done right. And eventually when you get all the split testing done and everything, it's like flipping a switch. God, dude, I need another $10,000 worth of work. I'll flip this on for the weekend. It's that easy, really. But you have to get there. It takes a lot of hard work. That's why a lot of companies don't make it. A lot of companies aren't big. A lot of companies are like, I've been doing this 20 years and man, I got one part-time guy and I can't get more work. You're not doing it right, obviously. But I have to tell you, this podcast is brought to you by me. I'm a sales rep for windowcleaner.com. It's what I do. By the way, before you fast forward, hear me out. I put orders in. It costs you nothing extra to use me, and I appreciate the heck out of it. All you have to do is call me or text me. This time of year, text is even better than calling. I'm on the phone all day. But it's 862-312-2026. That's my cell phone. Call me, text me, smoke signals. I'll put your order in. You can even save it to your cart, and all I can just push go for you. I get credit for it. It costs you nothing extra. Plus, I will give you a cool kid sticker, limited edition, super exclusive, fancy. I can continue living. So thank you for that. Speaking of, the new issue of the American Window Cleaner magazine is here. Yes, it is. So if you haven't yet, and there's got to be at least 4 or 5 of you left that don't have a subscription. It's literally $69. What are you doing? It's like half an hour's worth of work. Get a subscription. It's the entire year. It's a paper magazine that comes to your door every single month. It's all about window cleaning, all by window cleaners. Phenomenal, awesome read, just cool. Also, you get the exclusive sticker sheet. So everybody who sees the stickers or gets the stickers or any of that stuff, the stickers are one of the things that you can put on everything, buckets, belts, but you get the new sticker sheet every month free with each magazine. $69. Go to awcmag.com. Get yourself a subscription. I had so many people ask me about this last week too. Yes, I am now working with Jobber. I guess working with is a weird word, but yes, I've done another demo, like an updated demo, and it was phenomenal. Jobber is a CRM that does literally everything from scheduling to follow-ups to route optimization to tech note. It's phenomenal. And you can get a free demo. So before you even listen to some dummy on the interwebs do a demo. By the way, I have the link in the bio. You probably see my link tree. Reach out. I'll give you a link. It's like a free demo and 20% off a month. 20% every month for 6 months, something like that. And I get credit for it, but whatever. But Jobber's phenomenal. A lot of people ask about CRMs, and I've demoed a lot of them. And I even demoed Jobber like 4 years ago, and I was like, yeah, it's cool. But the new, that's like one of the biggest CRM companies, I think, on the planet. This new version is mind-blowing. It's phenomenal. Anyway, run your company the right way. So do that. I got the link in there. Yeah, super awesome. Anyway, back to it. When you talk about everything in hiring, the biggest thing that comes up is the expense. And a seasoned person will tell you how expensive it is, and you will go, no, not expensive. I mean, yeah, what are they going to train for like a day with me before they're out in the field making money? No, it's not how training works. When you train somebody, they're not efficient right away. They're not going to just jump in it and be like, I am the most amazing. And you're just going to be like, wow, I'm making immense money right from They need to learn your systems. They need to learn your company. They need to learn your text. They need to learn your blah, 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 blah. The hiring itself is expensive. Expensive. Worth it. Far worth it. But expensive. The other thing is you don't know if they're going to work out. So if you fire them after 2 weeks, you've trained them for 2 weeks, you wasted 2 weeks of money, you're going to hire somebody else. I get it. But the expense also comes in the equipment, in the apparel, in the vehicles, in the everything. Again, hiring a crew of 2 means you got to get another vehicle. That vehicle has payments if you're leasing or loaning. You have insurance, which is a payment. You have equipment, which is money. You have the apparel for all those guys. I got to get them each shirts. There's a few $100 for each of them, right? It costs money to hire. But the point of it is that even if your labor cost, industry standard, maximum labor cost is 38%. So that means out of $100 that they earn every hour, you're paying $38 for them. That's them, their insurance, taxes, that kind of thing. Yes, everything else as far as like, running the business and having a shop and having a car and having blah, 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 that's all on top. I get that. But every person you hire, every one of them, is going to make you 62% of that hourly. If they're making $100, every person you hire, when they go out in the field, they're making you $62. Yes, I know. Every time I say that, people go, well, yeah, but you got to advertise. You just said you need to buy. Yeah, I know that. I know that. What I'm saying is that once you have the equipment and everything else, they're making $62 an hour. If you have 10 people working, all at the most optimal, and there you go, $620 every hour is coming to you. So when you say that it is not worth hiring, if I just do it myself and make more money, no. Because you can only do so much. We only sell time. That's what we sell. If I'm cleaning your gutter, if I'm cleaning your screen, if I'm cleaning your window, it's my time that I'm selling. There's only so much time. You can only work 40 hours a week, is what most people say until you own a business and find out you're really working like 50 hours a week. But you know what I'm saying? You can only work 50 hours a week. You can't work 400 hours in a week. It just doesn't exist. And you would kill yourself, literally. So you have to have more people to scale. A company can't do $1 million with one person, obviously. Not that everybody wants to hit $1 million, but that's like that weird, sexy number everybody says. You got to have people for that. Understand that every person you hire adds to that. The expenses are there, but they're paid back in full. Just in the growth. Just in the presence. Just in the bigger you are, the easier it is. Now, I'll contradict myself in the same second sentence. But if you have a hamster, you could spend $1 a day to feed it. If you have an elephant and you fed $1 a day to feed it, it would die. Understand the bigger it is, the more money it takes, but it's the percentage. A marketing budget, we'll say, in a standard growth year, not extremely aggressive, but standard, is 10%. 10% is the same percentage if you made $100,000 or you made $1 million. Same percentage. Bigger numbers, same percentage. And you go, oh, you're telling me there's $1 million companies out there spending $100,000 a year in advertising? Yeah. Now, we're a different company, but fun fact, just between you and I, don't tell anybody. In the nice months, our advertising budget for WCR is over $10,000 every day. Every day. Just fun fact. But the idea is that the bigger you are, the more you have, the more new customers you have, the more referrals they come, the more repeat you get. You get people into a dentist close plus that, then they're just preaching your name. The bigger you are, the more people are out there yelling from the mountaintops of how awesome you are. But it takes time to get there. And you still have to have an advertising budget. And you still have to have the text. And when you're hiring 2 guys, it's very easy. If you already have 20 people out there. You hire 2 more people, you just take a couple hours from each and boom, they're in it. But you're also getting, $10,000 a day in new work, right? You're doing 30 new bids a day. That's, bigger. I know you can't do that the way you maybe are now, but you know what I'm saying. With all that being said, is the bigger you are, the easier it becomes to get growth as a whole. But it's a percentageal thing. Again, a 10% growth, we'll say, a $100,000 company means the next year you're just going to make $10,000 more. That's like getting a school done. In $1 million company, that's $100,000. That's like 10 schools. You're like, oh my gosh, there's so much. Yes, but you can do that if you scale right, and you focus. But here's the last big part that I say, because everybody says this. Let me rephrase that. Not everybody says this. Every small company says this. I'm going to repeat that. Every small company says this line. No big companies will say this. No companies who have done it will say this. But they'll say, don't grow too fast. You don't want to grow too fast. That is absolutely an absurd statement. An absurd statement. Because it is not how fast you grow. It's how strong you grow. Can you handle the things? Let me give you a really dumb example. There you go. If I buy Todd's company up the street, Todd's getting out of business. Hey, man, I want to sell my window cleaning company. I want to do a dual completion. Numbers work perfect. I work perfect. It's great. He's got 10 people. Say he's got 10 people. Say out of those 10 full-time people, he's doing $1 million a year, we'll say. Am I willing to pay for that with 10 awesome people who've been there a long time, got the gear, I buy the company on Friday. That means on Monday, I just increased my company by $1 million. I increased it $1 million in one day. Is that too fast? You're like, well, no. They got all the guys. They were doing it before. Perfect. It's an awesome company. You've done the numbers. They got the 10 people. They got the trucks already. You're just flipping the switch. Exactly. So in that same case, you say, well, that case that's not too fast. It grew $1 million. But if you're somebody just new starting off and you're like, hey, I'm door knocking and I'm in high school, don't grow too fast. Oh, I can't hire. Like, understand that person could do the same thing. It's not growing too fast. That is a ignorant statement that keeps people down. It is not growing too fast. It's growing too unsmart, unsafe, not being able to handle it. If you go and you found, but somebody called you, you're like, hey, I got this big complex. It's a $100,000 job, and you're a sole owner operator. You can't be like, yeah, definitely, we'll do it. That's growing too fast. You're not going to be able to handle that. Now you're trying to hire people to get somebody in. They're trying to count on you. You got people that don't know what they're doing. You've ruined the company. You haven't grown too fast. You've grown the wrong way. And that's where you go back to systems. You go back to getting things set up the right way to be able to handle this. There is no too fast. I know people who add 4-6 people a year. I know companies that are running 30 trucks. And you're like, well, yeah, they're not growing too fast because, they got all this. Yeah, right, exactly. They have this stuff in place for that. They have the pieces of the puzzle in place to handle that. I know a company that's doing $5 million. $5 million a year. Yeah. Now this year we'll probably increase. I think we'll do another $827,000 this year should be our growth. You increase your company $827,000? Yeah. Because they can handle it. The systems are in place. It's not growing too fast. It's not the dollars. It's not the size. It's the you. You have to do it the right way. Because yes, if you grow too fast, air quotes, it means you did it wrong. It means you're going to fail. You're going to. 90% of businesses fail. You've heard that awful statistic. 90+% of people shouldn't be business owners. Businesses don't fail because you can't sell cheeseburgers or you can't have a window cleaning company. or there's no windows to clean, or there's somebody who's charging less, so that's why I'm failing. It's not that. It's because the business owner sucks. Hard truth. Sometimes I find that people don't like that. No, my customer, But yet you have 5 other window cleaning companies. You have a giant monster window cleaning company, but you're complaining about this kid who's doing jobs for $20 an hour. Like, understand it was you, right? That's a hard truth. People will send angry comments. It's totally cool. Like, I don't mean to offend anybody, but I want you to see the reality of this is that the success or failure of a business is up to you, the business owner. The people who can do the right business are the ones that build the systems. They're the ones that build the structure. They're the ones that understand that growth is inevitable, but it has to be done right. If I'm a sole owner operator and I take on $1 million project, I will fail. It is not because of the lowball guy in my neighborhood. It's not because of my customers. It's not because everybody around me is poor and nobody wants window cleaning and it was raining, and it was because you screwed up. Scaling is amazing when you do it. Scary, yes. Expensive, yes. But here's the other thing: an expense is they're going to make it right back. You're not expensing, you're just giving the money away for a hot second. You're like lending it to somebody, you'll make it back in a month. But the point is, it has to be done right. Has to be. Okay. My shameless plug. Again, hold on. If you're still here, save my number, please. I would love to put your orders in. You got a big order? I would love to put it in. You got a small order? I would love to put it in. We ship free over 49, so I always try to get people over that mark at least, just not because I make more money, but because we would rather lose shipping than have you pay it. But anyway, I don't care if it's big or small. It is never, ever, ever a waste of my time because this is what I do. And the only way I make money is this in the magazine. That's it. So please do let me put your orders in. Otherwise, I will not be able to afford hair gel. That's what people always tell me. And the grayer my hair gets, I'm going to have to start dyeing it soon. It's a whole thing. So anyway, 862-312-2026 is my cell. Please, I would love to be your rep. I would love to be your homie. I would love to help you do anything. If you've already followed it this long on the show and you're still listening, comment on Spotify the word homie, because I want to see how many people listened all the way through the end. Anyway, also check out the Window Cleaner, American Window Cleaner magazine, awcmag.com. This has been around since 1986, and it has changed immensely. It is phenomenally good. It is so good. It's so pro, and it's just amazing. By the way, I was on the Squeegee Life podcast just last night from when I'm recording this. It's fun. It's so fun. This industry is great. I hope you get a subscription to the magazine. I hope you have as much fun as I do. And until next week, go out there and scale, baby, scale. But more importantly, go out there and be epic.